Steve Jobs said it best. He said, at the end of the day, a $30 watch and a $300 watch tell you the same time.
And you really
the only way somebody would know you have on a $30 watch is if you tell them.
I mean, we've been having great conversation all day, for me, to be honest. But I guess to start, I want them to learn more about you and who you are. So could you give kind of just a general rundown of who is Miss Lisa?
Wow, that's a loaded question. So I'm the executive director of Celeebrate Us workforce training at the University of Baltimore. We are a personal and professional development workforce training program. In essence, we build better workers. Traditional workforce training programs focuses only on students, getting the students trained and certified, but we focus on the employers. We focus on, can we send the employers the best? Because we understand that 80 to 85% of our adult lives, we're gonna be working. And so that's a lot of time and a lot of, engagement with people that you really don't know. And so when I decided to build, to launch, I wanted to do something different. I knew that I was coming into a very competitive workforce, space. When I started Celeebrate Us, there were 28 workforce training programs in the city alone, and I was number 29. It was like, oh my goodness, where are you gonna fit? Right? And so what I had to do is I had to accept that no matter how much I wanted to start my own workforce training program, I had to accept that I just didn't know enough. When you look at nonprofits like Catholic Charities, Goodwill Industries, you're trying to enter a space where they already exist, where they're already dynamos. And so I knew that if I was gonna really take a bite out of that apple, that I didn't know enough. A high school diploma just was not enough. Like I needed education, and so I went to school with the undergrad for business, and I did really well in undergrad, and I, was very fortunate to get accepted into a very competitive dual-MBA program with the University of Baltimore in Towson. It was wonderful because the purpose of both schools was you went to school and then you built a business. And so, my coursework, everything that I did in my plan of study was designed to build the business. So by the time I graduated, I already had a robust business because of the resources that was made available, to me during my education. But it was so successful, even while I was in school, that when I graduated in 2018, I was provided a sponsorship to keep the program at the university.
I actually want to dive a little bit more into that too, because I remember you saying that it started off as like your basket business, and then you even got news recognition and city recognition for that, and then you transitioned to events and you created those relationships. What was that, I guess, spark for you to say, you know what, I want to get into workforce training, I want to help put people in positions to, get jobs and work for themselves and essentially better their own lives?
Celeebrate Us is, for lack of a better term, a three-headed monster. We celebrate families. So we celebrate families through gifting, we celebrate families through events and occasions, and we celebrate families through work. The greatest gift you can give your family is the ability to care for your family and provide for your family. And so how the gift basket business started, you mentioned, me even being able to be on TV with,
Yes.
that came about because there was a point in time where I found myself in a wilderness, and a personal wilderness. And so the biggest challenge in the wilderness is that you're lost, right? One of the reasons I was lost in this wilderness is because I only saw my brokenness. I didn't see, you know how they say you can't see the forest for the trees, you know? I was so clouded by my own brokenness. I didn't want anything in life. And it wasn't that, it was almost like I didn't want anything in life because I was just convinced that love wasn't for me, success wasn't for me, you know, it was for everybody else. And so that's an alert that you only see your brokenness. So I gave myself the best gift, which is I went to counseling. And, you know, my counselor she said, wow, you know, like there's so much inside of you, but you're not going to accomplish a lot until you start seeing yourself differently than your brokenness. So she gave me some homework. She said, I want you to get a hobby where you have to assemble something that's in pieces, but at the end of it, it's beauty. And so I tried baking, I tried sewing, you know, I tried, like, I used to do dinners, you know, like anything that had presentation.
Yeah.
And none of it moved me. And one day, one of my coworkers came to work with this beautiful gift basket. And I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. And, you know, I was like, did you make that? And she said, yeah. And I said, wow, can you show me? And she said, well, it's not as easy as it looks. And so after work, she showed me how to make gift baskets. And sure enough, it was a whole bunch of pieces that at the end of it was beauty.
Yeah.
And it hit me. I'm like, wow, maybe this is it. I was still practicing. It's not as easy as it looks, you know. And I was already in school. And so I had to do a final exam in one of my marketing classes. And so I decided, so the project was, can you make a believable business? That was the final exam project. And I said, well, I'm gonna do, you know, the gift baskets. And like I said, it was just for the class, you know, it was the group assignment, you know. And your audience will tell you whether or not something is good or not, even before you know it. So it was the members of the group, they were like, it's nice, like, wow, you know. So I got up and did the presentation. And so the professor said, you need to speed this up. And I'm like, wow, what's going on? She said, you got orders. I said, orders for what? Orders for gift baskets. And I said, this is not a real business. Yeah. She said, I think it is, right? And so we went on break for Christmas. I have a wonderful sister-in-law that helped me do a focus group. Like, can this be a business? And like, I made some baskets, and all the items in the basket I had like on a table, like so people can feel and see the, you know. And my sister-in-law is amazing. She had like a survey, and it was like, she was like,
people.
Yeah, and she was like, you need to do this as a business. And so how I got on TV, I was at a place where I was doing some good work in counseling. And one of the things that was so good in counseling was me learning to be honest with myself, right? Honest with knowing my capacity, honest with knowing what I can do and what I can't do. And so, you know, I already decided I was going to do this as a business. And so, you know, I didn't have money for marketing and all that stuff. And so it's like, okay, how can I get this out to people? And so Patrice Saunders from Fox 45 had announced that she was having a girl. And so I gifted her a girl gift basket. And one day her producer called me and was like, oh my God, Patrice loved it. And she wanted to know if you want to come on air and do a demonstration for the viewers. And I was like, you know, really? Yeah. And that's when I learned about fairy dust. Because like I said, I did it thinking that she would like it and tell her friends, never thinking that I would get a chance to go on TV. And so I went on Fox 45 for Father's Day. I did Raven's Basket, and Jack Daniels has a line of barbecue sauce, and so I did a Jack Daniels cooking basket and a Raven's Basket, and that was my first time on TV. I've been on Fox 45 doing gift basket demonstrations 11 times. And I was affectionately known as the gift basket lady. Yeah. And so it was so therapeutic for me, because I finally saw beauty in my own self and my abilities. Mm-hmm. But I also had the bonus of being able to turn it into a business. And so how the parties came about is every time I would deliver a gift basket, I was delivering it to a party. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm leaving out, why am I walking away from money, right? Yeah. Why am I walking away? Remember, I was in business school, and one of the things they teach you in business schools is not to miss an opportunity. So I was like, wait a minute. I knew nothing about party planning, and so, but I knew that I would deliver retirement baskets, birthday baskets, baby shower baskets to events. And I was like, maybe I should learn this. And so I'm a lifetime learner. I always look for opportunities to learn things. Self-taught, myself how to do parties. And I didn't know how to price them. I didn't know anything about that. But I knew that it would also serve as a way for me to meet young people, because remember, I was in school already to do the workforce. Like, I was in school. A lot of people kind of thought that workforce just kind of came out of nowhere, but no, I was in school. That was the whole, right, that was the whole purpose of me going to school, was because of workforce. And so workforce came at the end, but no, workforce was the reason I went to school. And so, and so in the end of 2017, like December 2017, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Mm-hmm. So going through that illness really halted everything, because, like I said, my brain was swelling. Like, I was really in a crisis. 2017, I had one of my biggest years. Like, I was invited to the White House. I went on national TV, for my gift baskets, because that's the only business I had at the time. And, I had just started doing the parties, but people knew me only as the gift basket lady. And so to be at some level of success and then for it all to just come crashing down, like, wait a minute, what is going on here? By that time in my life, I learned that to look for the lesson. I'm supposed to learn something here. Look for, and I couldn't figure it out. But what I ultimately figured out is that as much as I love the gift baskets and the party business, it was almost like God was saying, look, you need to focus on workforce and, and kind of move that stuff out the way. I am bringing back the party business, but it's going to look so different. Whenever you lose something, if you love it and you have a passion for it, table it, don't get rid of it. Yeah. So I had to put it on the shelf. I had to put it on, sit it on the table. And so, but also when you lose something, come back better. Don't come back the same way, come back better. And so the reboot, if you will, is gonna it's still gonna be children's parties, baby showers, and stuff like that. But especially with I'm gonna focus probably mainly on children's parties. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna make it more experiential. So I found a wonderful company, that to partner with, and they bring the whole party. So it'll be like the merry-go-rounds, the bumper cars, so it's going to be different than what it was, but it's going to be better,
Okay.
so yeah. And I'm very excited about that. I'm excited because I found a way to braid in workforce, right? There's actually a training called Small Appliance Repair, where you can train on how to fix carnival rides. And, that's huge. Yeah.
And so you're going to implement that into your workforce.
Exactly.
And use those students who graduate and put their stuff together.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So because when you have to do more with less. So I have less time to do things. So I have to do more with what the time I have. So, if I want to bring the party business back, I can't get rid of the workforce, so how can I braid it where I'm doing both, but I'm not doing more work, right? I'm doing,
And something I've noticed is that even with the baskets in and of themselves, you create a pipeline for people. So, like with workforce training, your students come in, you're focused on the employer, right? I mean, obviously the students too,
Sure.
but you're setting it up so any student that comes in, they have a set system that works. People have gone through it before to get that job, to get that promotion, to get in that position with the employers that you connected them with. Your party business, you have families that are connected. They go through your event, they get your baskets. Now you're adding another pipeline for people to get into a whole thing for themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
That's really cool.
I always say this. You don't have to go to business school to have a successful business.
Yeah.
But if you want an empire, either you have to go to school or you're probably going to pay somebody who did.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted an empire. I didn't have money to pay someone. So I knew that I was going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So the biggest part of the lifting was the learning, not learning about the business specifically, learning business fundamentals. Business fundamentals are the same whether you selling tires, t-shirts, or you doing training. The fundamentals are the same. And so you mentioned the pipeline. So one of the things I learned in business school was about customer acquisition planning.
You have me write one out.
Once you identify your customer.
And even like with what we're doing here, and I'm sorry to divert from what you were saying, but it's a teaching moment.
Yeah.
It's feedback.
Oh, absolutely.
And like using your strengths. She knows how to do a wash and go. We've never done finger curls, finger waves before. Yes, it was great to try.
Yeah.
But we're not about to send you out looking crazy.
So
because I was like, if I could literally, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, as she was in her deep talk, I imagined like going like that and then failing miserably.
Oh no.
Jeff Bezos said, entrepreneurs should experiment. I went to Pennsylvania, it was an experiment. And in order to be effective experimenting with things, you can't be afraid to fail. And so, it doesn't matter that you don't know how to do finger waves. You're experimenting, because if it's something interesting enough to you, you can learn. One of the things that, and like I said, Pennsylvania was an experiment, and now I'm in 3 other states, right? You know what I'm saying? So if I was afraid of what would happen or what wouldn't happen, I would still be teetering along in one place, but no, there's nothing wrong with experimenting. You're not going to always get the answer you want, but at least get an answer. If the answer is, I'm not good at this, that's the answer. And we can move on from that. Acceptance is one of the best lessons I learned in my wilderness. When you accept things, you're able to move on. You know, one of the things that all of us wait too long to do is respect time. And when you don't respect time, it gets away from you. You know, I talked to someone today, you know, that had this sense of urgency. They, 53 years old, they need to get into nursing school, and I pointed out that, I respect your sense of urgency, but you have to accept whatever decisions cause you to be at this part of your life to do, and it's no right or wrong. You didn't do anything wrong to get here, but the process is not going to speed up because now you have a sense of urgency. The process is the process. And one of the things that is so funny, because I remember somebody asking me once before, could I introduce them to one of my partners? And I said, well, you do know that whatever it is that you do, if you want to meet them, you got to be able to deliver it around the globe. They are not a mom and pop.
Yeah, they're not.
So, right.
Well, worldwide.
and so, and I asked the person, I said, well, have you done what you want to do with them? Have you done it on a smaller scale yet? No, I'm just getting started. Well, why do you want to be that far in the front of the line? If you haven't even done it on a small scale, people, and it's our natural instinct to want to be first and want to be but does it matter if you are the front of the line if you can't operate up there? No, you're just going to be, your feelings are going to get hurt. Because it's interesting, because when my daughter was in 9th grade, I used to check my kids' book bags every Wednesday and check their notebooks and their homework. And so I was not happy with her writing, doing reports, and And so I just kind of kept an eye on it because I didn't want to get into the teacher's way. She got learning and she learning. So when she got her report card that quarter, she got an A in English. What is this?
You were just like,
and
what
so
is you
I went up to the school and I said to the principal, I demand that this grade gets changed. And the principal's like, it's an A. I said, yeah, but she's going to Towson University, where all the A's are legitimate and real. If I let her think that she's an A, when I know what I check on Wednesdays, she's gonna be set up for failure. So they changed it to a C. And when she finally, I don't know if it was second quarter, third quarter, whatever, but she finished that year with a B. I had to, get her some help tutoring, but what kind of parent would I have been to let her think she was an A student in English of all classes? And then she gets accepted into a school like Towson where everybody in the class are A students. No, she's going to struggle and she's going to drop out. Today, she is a Towson University alum.
Okay.
Because I had that honest conversation, like, no, you this is not where you are right now. But the principal even said, we've never had a parent say, change the grade to, lower.
No, but they came in saying change it to something higher.
Right, well, it took that A and ran. But once again, you are setting your child up for failure. And then, what difference does it make if they get an A they didn't earn in 9th grade and then flunk out the rest of the way? No, it makes no...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So why not do the work? And then you'll know that all your A's and B's are legitimately yours.
That's teaching accountability for your daughter too.
And not to take shortcuts. people don't understand that when you take shortcuts, you leave out the learning. And if it takes longer to accomplish something, it takes as long as it takes. But at least you know you've learned. You know, I teach a module called Your Place in Line. And every time I ask the students, where do you want to be in this line? I want to be in the front. I want to be in the front. I want to be the first one. Without even knowing how, you know, what the expectations are. How do you know what's behind that door?
Right.
How do you know that you're even ready for what's behind that door?
Do you ever really know you're ready though?
Well, I think you can. So whenever I do that exercise, I always teach my students, I want to be all the way in the back. As a matter of fact, I want to be the last person. Because the learning, as I keep going, that's the learning. That's the learning. You know, and so remember what you're going to learn along the way. You're going to watch people stomp out. Don't go in there. They asking for this. They're giving you information, data, important information that you're going to need, right? So you can't leave out the learning, but there are also things you can do while you're in line. You can make self-improvement. You can strengthen your professionalism. Like there are things you can do while you're trying to inch up to that line, right? That's why the minimum age for somebody to be president is 35 years old. Because you got to live a little, right? You got to do some things. Right. You don't have the brain development.
Don't they require you to be a governor too for a little bit or something?
So I know that all the states and everything got requirements. You know, they got age requirements. You know, and it's the learning. You know, if you've lived on this earth for 25 years, yeah, you've learned some things, but there's more to learning than just book learning. You need social skills. You need decision making. You need things that have to come with time.
Real life.
I went to school with someone that would be, I guess, considered a genius. Like they were put in college at 15, something, you know. But when they got to graduation, they couldn't get a job. And they couldn't get a job because, you know, you're 17 graduating, right? And so just like when you look on, you know, TV and everything, or YouTube and stuff, you see these people, 22-year-old millionaire or billionaire, you know. Trust what I say. They might be 2 years old, and it might be their idea. Trust what the team around them is surrounded by educated people, older people. You can't get to that kind of level without having somebody at the table with gray hair, right? So you are not a boy wonder or a girl wonder. You know, yeah, you discovered something wonderful, but it has to be experience that cultivates that nurtures that grows that. One of the greatest, it is funny, one of the things that my husband was attracted to is how self-deprecating I am.
Self-deprecating. Okay.
Like I laugh at myself. Okay. Like I'm the one. Like you know. Like in other words, like you can't be so buttoned up that you don't. You know, you can't make a joke about yourself. And he just loved that. You know. One time, we were somewhere and get ready to pay for dinner, and you know. I made this joke. I said, you got this because I got about $13 in my account. You know, like, and he just thought that was so hilarious. Like, who admits that?
Were you serious?
Who admits that? You know, well, the answer is yes, right? But also, too, you know, humor is a big part of who I am. But I can't laugh at anything else unless I can laugh at myself first.
Exactly.
And it's so funny because it was really like, I remember our first date, like I really didn't have gas money to get home. And, you know, I was like, you must think I'm some kind of bum or something. Like, he had to give me gas money to get home. So when I got home, I had like 3 missed calls from him. And I was like, I didn't think I'd ever hear from you. Wow. And he was like, why? I was like, our first date, I get to put gas in my car. What kind of bum am I, right? And he was like, he said, you fail to realize that at dinner, you talked about a lot of things about what you gonna do, and you're in school, so you can do this, that. He said, it was my honor to put gas in your car. He said, you are a movie I don't want to miss. Because
hold on now.
Oh yes, he was like, I'm gonna stay till the end of this movie.
Okay.
And so
after the credits, like a Marvel movie.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, what I didn't know is that I bought him out his shell. Like, you know how people say, "Oh, she ain't got no filter." That's me. But
you don't.
But right? And but he was really like buttoned up, right? And he was like, wow, if I was like you, I would be a millionaire. Like his company, they had millionaires. Like you can become a millionaire quick in his company if you have the right disposition, if you have the right attitude, if you get up at bat and swing every time. And he's like so shy, and he's like, I don't know how I lasted this long in this business. I'm so shy. Yeah, but and I said, well, you lasted because you got skills. And I didn't want him feeling bad about it. I said, look, you got skills to pay the bill. I said, I was the one sitting there with $13 in my account. Because he, and I really had to become the person that really show him, like, you got it going on. Forget about those millionaires at your job. You got it going on, like he got an 800 credit score, and who can work 20 years a commission only job? Not me. I need to know a paycheck coming every week, right?
Yep.
But like even us being married, I learned so much about him. So like if he don't if he take his lunch and then like whatever he don't eat, like that'll be his dinner. Me, I'm like, I'm going to order DoorDash. Like, he's like, no, like, why you going? Ain't nothing wrong with that sandwich. Like, But he has an 800 credit score and I don't, right? Like when you live an evidence-based life, things can't be, clouded. And that's when we talked about whatever your truth is, whatever your current reality is. You can stand in front of somebody else's Bentley, but at some point, somebody gonna catch you on a bus stop. And one of the things I've learned about success, success has a look. So if you got a Bentley, and even if you say your Bentley is in the shop, a person that owns a luxury car knows how luxury car dealerships behave. Before COVID, I had a Range Rover. And I got it serviced at the Range Rover dealership. Because of the kind of customer I was, if I ever needed a repair, I didn't have to call Enterprise or anything. They had a new Range Rover waiting for me as a loaner car. But a person that really has a luxury car would know that.
Yeah.
If you have a Bentley and you don't have the lifestyle that supports that, like I never forget when I went and got my first oil change. And I told you I had this self-deprecating behavior. And so when they told me, they said, my oil change was $300. And I was like, okay, so y'all don't have no coupons? And they did it. And so the service team bust out laughing. You know why? If you need to have a coupon to get your oil changed on a Range Rover, you're in the wrong dealership. Ain't no coupons over here.
Right, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
You go pay it or you go
right. But what you don't understand is, with a Range Rover, you only get your oil changed once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, the engines are made like that. So it's like, you paying $300, and God knows that was a bonus because I always forgot 3,000 miles, right? So no, I want to get to do this a year, So once again, it's hard to be fake to a person that is living a real successful life. Like, no, something is upside down. Now, if you just like catching the bus and you say, well, I'm gonna catch the bus to get to know people, that's fine. But I don't know about you. When I finally graduated from the bus, I was happy you know, and so it's so unfortunate that we just live in this inauthentic world now.
Yeah.
We live where it's okay to be fake. And I'm so glad that I'm in a place where I know all the areas of my life that I'm beautiful, that I don't have to be what the world calls beautiful, you know, and that's a gift. Like, that's a gift to never have. I don't ever have to worry about wearing makeup. I don't ever have to worry about wearing like the latest and the greatest, and that is what defines me as beautiful, right? Like,
Because you know who you are.
right, I know I discovered what makes me beautiful, and it has nothing to do with MAC. Like, to be honest with you, I still buy Wet n Wild. Oh yes,
We got Bobby Brown. What else?
and I don't have anything against MAC and Fenty and, you know, all that stuff. But Steve Jobs said it best. He said, at the end of the day, a $30 watch and a $300 watch tell you the same time.
And you really
The only way somebody would know you have on a $30 watch is if you tell them. And that was so profound to me. And like I said, I like nice things, but I understand value. Like, I built myself to be valuable to where the things I like and the things I want, somebody give it to me as a gift. So you don't have to deny yourself just because you like nice stuff and you can't afford it. Become so valuable that people will see that you get what you need.
When it comes to you anyway.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about me loving my own truth. You know, I don't have anything to be ashamed of. You know, I'm grateful for life. I've risen above a lot. And if it ended today, when the neurology team would come around and do rounds, they said, every time we come in here, you scrolling through your phone, smiling. And I said, well, that's because I did everything I wanted to do. I wanted to go to school, so I went to school. I wanted to start a business, I started a business. You know, so I can't help this condition I'm in now. But I have no regrets. You know, how many people can say they got invited to the White House?
Not many.
Right, you know, the White House is the people's house. I don't care who invites you. You know, anybody living in the White House is a temp. Right?
Yep.
You know, right. The White House is the people's house, right? And so, like, what an honor.
Yeah.
If you went to the White House when President Nixon was president in 1974, you still went to the White House, even though he, you know, ended up interrupting he got impeached and he resigned or whatever, but it don't matter.
I didn't know that.
He was still president. He still held the highest, you know, job in the world, right? And that's all you have to look at. And you can't just knock on the door and say, hi, I was just in the neighborhood. And, you know, I told y'all I was going to come through, you know, like.
And not just getting invited either. It's getting invited and recognized.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just you in your business. You don't have a team in every single city that you work in to go to those trainings for you. You don't have people that sit behind the desk and find. And
right.
You make those calls yourself.
Oh my
you
God.
Get those connections by yourself. You talk to these people. You put yourself in front of classrooms of people that want to do better by yourself. You get recognized by BDE. You got partnerships with Walgreens, Pepsi. Who else?
So it's. And thank you for acknowledging that. But one of the things that they teach you in business school is that if you solve a problem, you're going to always be in business. So if you say, okay, what problem do I solve with the gift baskets? Well, I'm going to make the gift baskets. I'm going to make it. It's going to be the only one in the world. There's not going to be another one in the world like it, right? So distinction. And people want to feel special. Nothing makes you feel more special than you're the only one in the world that has it, right? And number two, convenience. You know, you make the order and I'm going to deliver it to wherever the event is. And so and then the quality, like I said, people, I went over somebody's house and I had to look real close, and I was like, "Is that the gift basket?" And it was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, well, let me just touch it up some, right?" Because like the packaging had withered, and I'm like, "Oh, let me touch it up." And so, no matter what I do, I gotta be solving a problem. A housing coordinator from Prince George's County Public Housing called me today. I called her months ago. And, she kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to get in touch with you." Well, I learned to be patient in my journey. And I have to understand, she's in charge of the tenants in public housing. And one of the things that none of us can stop is that calendar is going to change. She called me today with this amazing sense of urgency. You know why? They ready to let school out. You can't have a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, "How you doing, Miss Lisa?" They like, "Oh, I just wanted to work with you." And I told the team, right? And it's because none of us can stop the clock. None of us. And so she is in charge of public housing that has 16 and 24-year-olds. And she has somebody that she reports to that want to know, okay, what's the plan? Are we going to have 16-year-olds busting out windows? What's the plan? And, Walgreens hired at 16.
That's okay.
And so,
That's real convenient.
Right. So she was like, "Oh, send me the flyer." Like now it's this sense of urgency. But the reason why I just count it all joy is because, wow, this lady who has a big job, a big responsibility, sees something that I have to be able to solve a problem for her. Mm-hmm. And as long as I keep that at the forefront, then, even when deals fall through, contracts fall through, things fall through, I know I'm going to live to fight another day because I know I solve a problem.
So what do you believe helps you stay valuable? You know what I mean? Because I've heard of plenty of people who, they create value, they do their thing, and then once they get to a certain point of success or what they believe their success is, they kind of just stop, or they hit like a plateau. And like I think you were saying earlier, like as an entrepreneur, you have to stay creative, you have to stay relevant, you have to stay valuable. Essentially, what do you believe helps you stay valuable?
In order to stay relevant and valuable, you have to constantly be open to feedback. When people get to a certain level and they don't think that they, they gotta be nice to their fans or stuff like that, usually they kind of get burnt with that, right? They find out the hard way. And so I do two things. Number one, I welcome feedback. That's number one. And number two, I understand that the power is in the people. And so the people dictate how good, bad, or indifferent you are. It's the people, and think about it. If the people support what you do and love what you do and see value in it, it's the people that's going to keep you around. I was sharing with you earlier that the granddaughter of someone in my family is in my class. And how I found out is because she kept coming home talking about my program, right? She's the people, right? I can tell you all day I'm wonderful. And it does not matter what I say. What are the people saying?
Right.
And that's...
And if you want to pull up Google again, we can read about what the people are saying.
Yes. And the thing is, it's what the people say that keeps you relevant. And when you have to change things and you have to shift things, that happens when you are open to unfiltered, unmitigated feedback. Tell me what I need to do better. Okay. It's one of the things we have in my marriage is we do a 90-day inventory of our marriage. Okay. And that 90-day inventory is where we have rules, right? And so we agree that we're going to stay on task and we're going to talk about what the issues are. We don't hit below the belt anyway. So, but that keeps us constantly keep our eye on our marriage, right? Mm-hmm. Because I don't care how good it is, even like a Bentley requires service, mm-hmm. right? So no matter how good my marriage is, we owe it to each other to do a 90-day evaluation inventory. And like every January 1st, we set goals. Like, okay, what do you want for this year? What do you want to work on? And things change, but at least we have something that we're working on every day. Both of us are working on something every day. Yeah. And so, but you have to treat different parts of your life like that. You should do a 90-day assessment of your career. If you're in school and at the 90-day mark, you're like, okay, I got an F on that. So you know what? Monday, I'm going to call the tutor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to do an inventory. Things fall apart when you take your eyes off.
Take ownership of what's going on in your life, especially mm-hmm. those things that you claim to be really mm-hmm. important to you.
Mm-hmm. But not only that, you have to build systems and processes. Mm-hmm. Businesses operate on systems and processes. The baker does not wake up and say, oh, I think I'm going to make about 30 oatmeal cookies. No, he got to make sure that the cookies that were made yesterday got sold.
Right.
If he still got 29 oatmeal cookies,
what happened?
Right. We not gonna expend resources on 30 more cookies. We're gonna get to the bottom of
why we only sold one.
Right. So then what you do is you take it out to the people. Can you taste this? Like, what am I missing? Right? Am I missing raisins? Am I missing right? Feedback. Feedback makes you better. Yeah. And one of the reasons why I have, the reviews that I have is because I want to know, and when the students, there's some things that aren't negotiable, right? So, you give too much homework. Well, that's not negotiable.
You really don't.
Well,
you give appropriate homework for what the lesson is, at least in my opinion.
Right, but also too, you have to understand that adult learners who've never been to college. Like, you and I have been to college. So we used to sweat Sunday night at 11:20. Right. Like, oh my God, I got 10 minutes, right? I remember, oh my God, running to the bathroom with the laptop.
Right.
Go to the bathroom. And so we're trained on that. Somebody that went to school 20 years ago, it's a lot of work, but you have to understand that this is a system. In this system, you have to do this homework. Mm-hmm. And so the reason I say it's not negotiable is because I can't let a student's discomfort disrupt how I measure their performance, mm-hmm. right? Like, okay, if you get graded on the curve, fine. But I can't just reduce the grade like, okay, if you get 3 out of 7, you get more. No. Because once again, I'm supposed to be solving a problem. Right. I'm supposed to be the solution. Right. I can't send the employer more of the same. Mm-hmm. And so I tell students, I tell them that, if you are having the difficulties that employer is already experiencing, no, you're not going to move forward. People love guarantees. Am I guaranteed a job? Am I guaranteed a certification? Am I guaranteed that? You still got to go to class.
Right.
I never forget somebody paid the enrollment fee and they didn't come to class. They didn't do their homework.
They just expected.
And they was like, I paid my money. Okay, I paid to go to college. I still have to go to class. Right?
Yeah.
But once again, you have to understand that everybody does not speak the same language. Mm-hmm. Some people think that if they pay $2 for something, they're supposed to get the world. And I told them, that's not life. You cannot get a champagne existence on a bare effort. If you want a champagne life, you got to make a champagne effort. And that's why I'm so proud of like that I took my career seriously. And the way you can tell I took my career seriously is that before I even knew if I could make money in my business, I went to school. Like, you know what? I'm going to get this checked off my list. Like, I want to know, you know, I want to make sure that I have the tools and that I'm equipped. The reason why a lot of things fail is because people try to do big girl things in a size 2 t-shirt. Like, you cannot, you know, it ain't gonna work. Right?
Just it in there.
It ain't gonna. You can wipe your hand. You know, like, okay, this is a little t-shirt. I mean, that's all you can do. But you can't get your arm in, right?
Get a little do-rag.
Right. It ain't gonna go all the way around, right? It's not gonna, you know. And so, you know, I teach my students, you gotta be honest with yourself. You gotta be honest with your capability. If you're not capable, you know, we talk about saying no. I hear students say, oh, I don't like to say no. They're going to be mad at me. Okay, well, the rent man going to be mad too. So you give somebody your rent money, right? So
you can't just say no to him.
You can say no. If you can say, so when I was in my wilderness, I did things like this, right? So I would take my rent money and get my boyfriend's boot off his car. And then he wouldn't give me the money back. So now I'm trying to figure out how, you know, and I'm getting smart with the landlord. Excuse me, miss. What you getting smart with the landlord for, right? You know, what you leaving out is the decision that led to this condition, right? And so I learned that you have to accept what you can do and what you can't do. And one of the things that I learned early is how to say no. Getting out that wilderness. And I teach my students, you know how to say no. You want to know how you know how to say no? Just look at how people tell you no. I get told no every day about something. It's life. And so when people ask me things and I know what my capacity is, it's like, no, I'm not going to be able to do that. That's not going to work for me. You know, like when I was building out my business and things kind of slowed down for me. My husband was like, look, you got 3 college degrees. You need to go get a job. And I said, I understand. Because he had to pick up the slack. And I said, well, if I'm meeting my obligations, you know, does this end that conversation? And so what you can't do is not meet the obligations and now you're getting smart. This is my business. You ain't got a leg to stand on. Excuse me, miss. Like, people really argue. And you don't have a, no. If one person's paying all the bills and you think you got a leg in the race to say what you ain't gonna do. No. Yo, you gonna help pay your responsibilities.
Right.
Now, if I'm meeting my goals, if I'm meeting what I'm supposed to, no, you know, if I can ride this out, you can too, right? Like I said, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and that's what's really difficult with a W-9 and a W-2. You know, like a W-2, they need to know what's coming. A W-9 is like, okay, let me send this invoice, and you know, I know this is gonna take 30 days, 60 days, and so, but the bottom line is systems and processes. You know, I went to school, like everybody talking about, oh, you need to have multiple streams of income. Okay, that's true. But you need multiple streams of income from here. Does it make sense? I shouldn't have to buy a package or, you know, or pay for something. When I needed to get income in, you know, I used up here and say, you know what? I think I'm gonna do some consulting. You know, because I know there's some programs out here struggling.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're basically saying like that multiple streams of income physically comes from your ability to think 7 different ways for one thing. Not necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna have this job and this job and this job, but like be able to create those income opportunities based on what's already in front of you.
Revenue streams come from value. If I have something valuable, you're going to pay for it. People pay for value.
Mm-hmm.
So the revenue streams come from, okay, what can I do to help this organization or this company? And what can I do where it's not going to cost me anything? So like, you know, say if you're selling jewelry, you got to buy the inventory, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make that investment, and that's fine. It is what it is. However, what would be a better solution? Is it to take my degrees that I've already earned and go to somebody selling jewelry and say, listen, I can help you build new markets. You know, how can I do that? Oh, you know, I haven't sold any jewelry. You know, I said, well, do you donate jewelry? Oh my goodness, I'm already struggling. You know, right? Yeah. Well, okay, I know you're struggling, but consider this: if you donate bracelets to women in a homeless shelter, number one, you're going to make them feel good about themselves. But you fail to realize homeless shelters are ran by nonprofits. Nonprofits are managed by boards. I've never met a board that didn't have a millionaire on it.
Good.
And so at the board meeting, the director is going to say, oh, this lady called, and her name is Jane, and it's called Jane's Jewelry. She came and gave all the lady clients bracelets. No, we didn't have to pay for anything. So that board member gonna say, what's our website? Okay, all y'all getting jewelry for Christmas, right?
Okay.
They gonna order. So that's how they're gonna support your business. And like I said, I don't just say things willy-nilly. I'm coming from a point of reference. As you say, I got receipts.
As always.
I donated some gift baskets to a silent auction for Girl Scouts.
Okay.
And I was struggling so bad in my business at the time. But because I understand service, and I understand that if I'm making baskets out my mind, I got a whole bunch of residuals. I got a whole bunch of leftovers that I can create, right? Mm-hmm. So I created some baskets just off the stuff that I had laying around, donated it to the silent auction. And my husband at the time, you know, he was just so nice. He bought a TV and donated it to the auction, right? And so like maybe 2 months later, the CEO said, I'm doing something nice for the volunteers who are troop leaders. They done had enough cookies because they done sold them. Mm-hmm. I'm sending them on a camping trip. I need 125 popcorn gift baskets. That was a $4,000 order.
Wow.
So people don't understand that, you know, if you're about the mission, the money comes.
Are you comfortable with me, Sarah? Because we can cut this out and go me too. But I remember when me, Jada, and Kobe were in your business course, and you mentioned always the service first. And always focused on being of service. Yeah. Not just to, you know, the group you want to sell to, but just to the community, period. Mm-hmm. And that right there is the prime example of being of service. And then it rewards you later. You don't have to it doesn't always have to be a transaction. Maybe that transaction is just you giving something and them experiencing the joy from it. And then, like you said, that fairy dust, somebody's going to get on, the right person's going to hear about you. And
when it happened, like I said, I was struggling because, like I said, I was going to school and, you know, I couldn't really focus on no part of the business that was going to generate a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And so, but like I said, I made gift baskets from just what was laying around, right? Like if I did a candle basket for someone and I didn't need all the candles I used, now I got some nice new candles. If I did a baby basket and I didn't need I already had a pair of booties and I didn't need this pair of booties, right? So, don't worry about what you have. Use what you have left, right? Don't worry about, one of the things I never worry about is what I don't have, because I find value in what I have left. Because as long as I got something up here, I'm going to figure it out. And that's what I love about having a marriage with a husband that, pays the bills. Because just like I said, creativity is 80% of what I do. And the only way you can be creative is you have space. And because he pays all the bills, that gives me space. I don't ever have to worry about a turn-off notice, an eviction notice, no food in the house, right? Because not only, and people don't respect peace. You need peace to be successful. You need peace. I never forget, one of my sons called me, right? And so you could tell that like somebody was arguing with him and so he was trying to hold a conversation with me and argue. I hung the phone up. Whatever is going on ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
And I always like this story of back in 2019, I was cooking Thanksgiving dinner. So we were going to have Thanksgiving at my daughter's house. And so my sons came over, I'm trying to shoot them out the kitchen, get out the kitchen. So they went into, the living room. And I don't know what happened, but I heard something crashing. And they was in the living room fighting. And so I called the Uber and packed up all the food. So the food went into the Uber to my daughter's address. Opened the door and I told both of them, get out. And they was like, where we gonna eat? What we gonna eat? I said, find your way to your sister's house. How we gonna get there? I don't know. I don't care. I had the best oodles and noodles for Thanksgiving.
Oh my God.
It was the best oodles and noodles I ever had in my life.
Put the garlic powder.
Oh, y'all, got the hookup. The penitentiary hookup. Right? With the kippers and the tuna and the peas. Okay? No, real talk. Oh my God, it was like a casserole.
Oh, yeah.
You
can really whip up some noodles.
Oh my goodness, you get skills. If you got skills,
Yeah.
you can open your refrigerator. Oh my goodness, I got. Oh, okay, I see some cheese. I see this, right? No, but it really. And I text my daughter, make sure your brothers eat. So all the food got there. I was the only one that wasn't there.
Wow.
And I didn't feel any kind of way because you have to guard your peace. I don't know if you ever been in a space when two men are fighting, but they fight to the blood. They want to see blood. And I said, you are not going to turn my house up. I opened my door and told them to get out. But like I said, I had to spend Thanksgiving by myself in my house with my oodles and noodles hookup. And I binge watched Sex and the City. The best, oh my God, the best Thanksgiving ever.
It's a memorable one though.
Yes.
Because you chose yourself.
You have to protect. You have to feed what feeds you. Peace feeds me. If I'm peaceful, I can create. If I can create, I can expand. And if I can expand, I can stay in business. Right? And so, here's a perfect example of being creative with what I do. So after 5 years of pleading with the Baltimore City school system, I finally got a contract. And I'm just so thrilled. And the city is just wonderful because they just pick whatever school you want, right? It's pick what you want to do. And so I never run from hard stuff. So I picked a school, an alternative school, when kids got kicked out of regular school, you know, like I don't run from hard stuff. Because if I can help a kid that got kicked out win, I'm winning, right? So I said, I want to do career exploration. What can I do to engage, you know, some 8th graders or 9th graders or 16 to 24? Like, what can I do? And so I said, well, you know what? I think they still like video games. So since they still like video games, and so I Googled local video publishing companies, and we got a couple of them here in Baltimore.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I reached out to, this one was actually in Bethesda. And I reached out to them and I was like, I'm doing a career exploration event with, you know, some youth. And it's gonna be a space that's gonna have food, music, and a bunch of game consoles, the game chairs, you know. And can you come and speak about what it is to be a video publisher, and how much money you can make? Because the idea is that I want them to either stay in school, come back to school, but to get excited about being in school. And so if you look on my Facebook page, it says go big, go home, right? So the go big or go home side of me is that I'm gonna get internships at Sony out in Seattle. For, you know, for the...
So we about to be in another state.
Okay. You know, but it'll be that experience. Like, if you really want to do this video game publishing and you went back to school and you doing your homework, you doing, you know, even though it's hard for you, you still hanging in there. Why not let you at 19 years old fly out to Seattle and do an internship at Sony Games? Why not?
You're playing the games anyway.
You playing the games anyway. You making Sony rich anyway. And so, like, if you look at those the NBA 2K and Madden and all that stuff, you have to go. You have to go. No. There's nothing wrong with being a consumer.
Yeah.
But why stop there?
Right.
You know, why not? And I have a son that graduated from Job Corps. And when he graduated and he would come home, he was always taking stuff apart. And I'm like, oh my goodness, was that broke or something? Like, why is the remote, like, all the pieces, right?
Oh, wow.
But he learned how to put stuff together.
Yeah.
You know, and so why not help somebody, you know, turn something passionate, something that they like doing? Why not help them monetize it? Why do they have to stay in the consumer zone where they spending and not profiting? You know, and so I called the school. He was like, pick a date. Like, when do you want to come? Because whenever I do something, just give me a space. I don't ask for money. I don't ask for resources. I'm going to bring all of that. I'm going to try to get out your way. I'm not going to disrupt anything because I'm blessed for the opportunity. Because you are putting me in front of your most valuable commodity, and that's people. You know, they talk about being a capitalistic society. Human capital is the most valuable capital. And if you are putting me in front of your students, I'm gonna make sure that it's memorable.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
So, you know, people talk about, you know, we're a capitalistic society. And people, what should I invest in? What should I invest in? Well, the best investment is to invest in people.
Okay.
So if I spend my money getting all these consoles and getting all the monitors and getting all the access to the games, the internet and all of that, I'm not only giving your students a wonderful experience, I don't even want the credit for it. So when I do things like that, I don't wear anything with my
Business.
business on it. No.
Because you're doing it from your heart.
I'm the party coordinator. Mr. Thomas invited me here. Go thank him. Because when I leave, it's Mr. Thomas. They got to make sure they keep coming to school, right? So why take the credit? No, I'm investing in human capital. I'm investing in people. And so, you know, and they love when when it ain't gonna cost them nothing. No, you pay nothing. No, the fact that you let me in front of, you know, 17 of your students in video games, they're gonna go bring somebody, right? They want somebody, a sparring partner. They want somebody to play against. So it's a win-win. And one of the reasons why people don't experience success is because they only consider winning for them. But you can't get to winning if you winning is the priority. Like, I wanted to do this, but I wanted to do this so you can win, right?
I want to do this so you can win.
The sun is big enough to shine on all of us. But people make a fatal mistake when they think that the sun should only shine on them. And you know, I'm a big hip hop head. Like, I love hip hop. And like, oh my God, it broke my heart when Pop Smoke got killed. Oh my God, I love him. And then I thought about like Young Dolph and stuff, you know, you have to make the people around you. Nobody's gonna keep watching you make money. You gotta do like what LeBron did. LeBron took all his homies and he paid for all of them to go to school so they can run his business, right? You gotta make a way for people. People are not, jealousy is too easy. It's so easy to become jealous of people. And if you're counting money and you just got, you know, nobody's gonna keep watching that, right? And so it's like, help your team win. No, you know, like, one of the reasons I stopped going on TV for my gift baskets is that I told the producer, you know, bring somebody else on. I'm good.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
You don't need to keep showcasing me. I'm really doing the same thing.
right. Well,
And it's not even about just me anymore. It's
Right.
about who I'm helping.
right.
Helping me.
Right. And so I introduced the producer to a lot of other creators, right? Because the bottom line is success is about longevity. It's not that you got a good idea or that, you know, you the bomb.com today. How long can you last? We did I don't know if you are old enough to know about Blackberries.
Oh, of course. I
But-
play on my dad's all the time.
Right. Blackberries used to be Apple before Apple.
Yeah, okay.
And we did a case study about BlackBerry in school. Everybody told BlackBerry that Apple was coming. But if you don't know how to pivot, you know, you're gonna go by the wayside. Like, you're gonna go the way of the dinosaur, right? You're gonna, you know, and so you have to be intentional about learning how to stay relevant. And the way you stay relevant is you listen to the people. Listen to what the people say. You know, the first iPhone I had was the iPhone 4. Oh my God, you know, but it had that camera. I don't think Blackberries had cameras, right? So, you know, so whatever little thing that Apple did, it was that creativity, like, oh, okay. And so even like what I do, today I was really, and don't think that I'm a dork,
No.
but I was reading the labor statistics of the jobs that are thriving, the sectors that are, you know,
Stay in your field.
right. Well, you have to master, you know, and because I write programs based on what the labor statistics say. So for example, retail is taking a nosedive because people are still have an appetite for online shopping. So even though people are going back to the malls and stuff, retail will lose minus 72,000 jobs this year.
Wow.
And like, that's crippling, right? That's why people are upping and enhancing their e-commerce. You know, I don't know if you heard about what Walmart is doing. They get ready to lay people off because, you know, they're looking at trends. They're looking at more people are shopping online for Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And even the site to store is, you know, people are so, lives are so complicated. It's like, okay, have my stuff at the door. So I get, you know, like,
Deliver it to
I don't want to go in, right? Like, you know, and it's because our lives are so complicated. Like, we just want to get back to the work that we was doing. Like, I woke up like 9 this morning and like knew what I was, you know. So since 9 this morning, I was planning for you to come. And like, oh, I got this much time. Oh, I got this much time. Oh, you know what? Let me answer this email. Oh, let me, you know. And then people calling about training, you know.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I looked up, it was 4 o'clock. Oh God, where does the day go, right? And so anything that I need is like, you know what? I'm gonna ask Morgan, can she just take me, you know, drive, because the bottom line is that you gotta make good use of the time that you have and don't waste it. Don't waste any time. Don't. Mm-mm.
Time is too valuable for that.
Well, time you can't get back.
Exactly.
You can lose money and get money back. You can lose a house, lose a car, and get a car, can't get time back.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
You know, as young and beautiful as you all are, I can tell you the gray hair is coming, right? It may not be coming.
I already got one.
It may not be coming for years, but it's coming.
Yeah.
Because that's the natural order of things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why remember when I did the module on the CEO view?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I teach in that module is that one day you're gonna be scrolling down on social media and it's gonna hit you. You're gonna see somebody your same age doing something better than you. And it's not gonna be something that, you know, material, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you might see one of your classmates in a picture with the governor. And it's funny because, you know, obviously if you're in a room with the governor, you want to take a selfie, that's fine. I tell people, if you see me in a picture with the governor, we're ready to go break bread. I'm in a meeting, right? Like, I don't have time for just selfies just because.
Right.
I do selfies with my family. But if you see me with an official, oh no, we talking about
The
something.
photographer took that.
Yes, exactly. It's funny because my students write a lot about relationships. You know, their hearts get broken. And, you know, all of us have experienced broken hearts. And, you know, I tell them, well, you got to put things in perspective. And you got to give things a number. So if it's a 1, you know, that is urgent, right? 1 through 5. 1 is urgent, 5 is like, you know what? And so I always tell my students, you know, they cry, he cheated on me. I said, okay, so let's unpack it. How much about it do you know? She told me that he did this, they did this. And I said, okay. And so he came back home and, you know, like nothing ain't happening, you know. And I said, I'm not telling you to excuse the behavior. But if that's all he did, if that's all they got, and he's here providing for you, taking care of the family, paying bills, they didn't get anything. So don't give that more power than it ought to have. Now, I'm not excusing behavior, no, because you don't want to be disrespecting and all
Just
that.
looking at perspective.
But make sure that the punishment fits the crime.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's what he did, and let's just call a spade, he had sex with somebody. Don't worry about your man having sex with somebody. worry about him breaking bread with somebody. Because when you having sex, ain't nobody doing a whole lot of talking, right? But if he breaking bread, no, he care about what you think. So I'm weird. Because, I'm weird because I would never leave my husband if I found out that he slept with another woman. Because I weigh things.
Okay. So people will look at you crazy.
And good for them. Good for them.
Yep.
Because while you say, oh my God, now, knock wood, my husband ain't never did anything like that I was made aware of, right? But see, I weigh things. So if he did that, it's a 5 to me. You know why? Because guess what's number 1, 2, 3, 4? I get to go on 2 vacations a year. Anything I ask for, I get. You understand what I'm saying? Like, my quality of life. If I was in charge of my life, I'd be kaput, right? But I have a whole nother person that cares about me, that takes care of me, make sure I get everything I need. Now, if we need to work on why you went there, let's work on it. Let's discuss it. But no, I ain't giving up 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, I ain't giving up none of that. No, I need 2 vacations a year. And I teach my students, like, I don't want to go on a cruise with 50 other people. I got to pay $5 every month. No, I want to say, babe, I want to go on a cruise. And he get out the credit card, right? That's the life I have with him. Does it make sense? It's like, and then I teach my students about power. So you mean to tell me that this moment of poor judgment was powerful enough to wreck your life? Because guess what goes when he go? Your life go too. And I've been on my own long enough. I already in that movie. It wasn't a good one. So I love the life I had. And I know, like I said, that sounds weird. Some people think that, oh my God, you know me, that's the end of the world. Yeah, you ain't lived long enough.
It's an emotional reaction most of the time.
Right.
And not like a logical, like, hey, let's sit down and really discuss why you did this. And it's a different story if he's just like in denial and don't want to talk about it and treating you bad, like you said. But if it's too, like, we're human beings at the end of the day. Right. And so we're going to make mistakes. And that's one thing God teaches in every relationship we have, forgiveness and understanding. But
also you have to understand, how do most women find out that their man cheating?
Somebody else.
For it?
Somebody else.
For it.
If you're looking for it, yeah. But like, somebody else. Somebody else. And so, like, I am the queen of logic, right? So if you come to me like, yeah, he was with me last night, well, evidently things ain't going well. like, why would you tell like, if you've been with him 15 other times, but you chose now to tell me, y'all need to work things out.
Right.
Why are you telling me this now?
So, okay, that actually just brings up, like, what do you believe the importance of sex in a relationship is? Because I've been watching videos and, like, it's just from a man's perspective too. Like, often when a man does go to seek that somewhere else, again, not excusing behavior, but it often is something that he feels he's not getting from you, that he is getting from somebody else. But it's like him not leaving you and still wanting to provide.
So how real do you want me to be?
Real.
Come on,
real.
Come on, I'm asking because I know you're gonna keep it, straight, no chasing.
Organic.
So the role that sex plays is the same role that this plays. Play options. See. So go ahead. You are not going to be all of this. But it takes a man to be mature enough to understand that you are only one of these flavors.
Okay.
But it goes back to value. You shouldn't place my value on if I taste better today, like a watermelon and I should be valuable enough that, okay, if we eating crackers all day, we eating crackers, right? And so, right, and so, right.
I'll make sure.
Now, I'm not saying that it requires work. I'm saying that people have to be developed in relationships. Mm-hmm. You have to be personally developed, mature. Mm-hmm. You have to be kind. And you have to have an awareness that, this gonna hurt her. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's funny. Y'all said I can keep it real, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. As real as you need to be.
My husband is a fox, right? Okay. He's nice looking, got a good credit score. Like I said, he got it going on. When I trained myself coming out that wilderness, the first thing I trained myself on is that I'm not getting into any fights that I can't win. So if you are measuring me against a woman with long hair, light skin, and skinny, I ain't gonna win that. Does it make sense?
That's true though.
Well, I'm saying if that's what his appetite is, right?
Okay.
So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be dismissive of his appetite. Like when he started dating me, everybody was like, "Oh, this is not serious. Please." Like
I don't mean to laugh.
People really was like, because like I said, he was a bachelor's, so that house you picked me up, that's his house.
Okay.
Like he was totally independent. Like I said, when he retires, he's gonna be a millionaire. And so when I learned like the women that was in his life, I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna win this. I ain't gonna win, So just like with Celeebrate Us, I researched like, okay, how can I stand out? Right? Mm-hmm. Like it's 28 other training programs. How can I stand out? How can I stand out to get 59 out of 65-star reviews? What do I have to do to get that? Right? Mm-hmm. So I did the same thing with him. So I learned what they weren't doing.
Okay.
I learned what they weren't doing. And how I'm not saying landed my husband, but how I got on my husband's radar is I had to do an assignment for school. And by this time I learned that I could help him in his business. I told you he's commission only, they live by referrals. Mm-hmm. And so I had to interview the interim president of Towson University. And that interim president ordered $15,000 worth of clothes from him. Wow. Kicked every bitch out of line. Every last one of them got kicked out the line.
Yeah.
Oh, I got kicked out the line. Kicked them right. Bow! Kicked them right.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
That'll do it right there.
So I'm just gonna keep it real. Like I was a straight booty call to my husband. I was a straight booty. Like I was a big girl. Like I was a big old freak. Like Megan. I was a freak. That's what I was, right? That's what I was. And so I never saw him during the day, right? Like I was really digging him. So it's like he called me 4 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, I'm already downstairs waiting. Oh, what? Right? So when I learned how much I liked him, and I sized up, like, I ain't gonna win that. I ain't gonna be skinny. I ain't gonna be short, and I ain't gonna be light skinned, right? Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna win that. And so when I learned, because remember, no matter how good somebody's doing, they ain't doing everything. That's why I got Walgreens as a customer. Okay. Because everybody think that Walgreens is like this big behemoth, and they are. But the bigger they are, they got a lot of problems, right? Mm-hmm. And so never did I ever think I didn't have anything valuable to offer a company that big. No, don't put yourself down. Don't think less of yourself. And so, I had these conversations with God. I was like, God, I like him. I really like him. And, like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. And when I figured out, and when we went to dinner, he was like, how is it that I just met you and you got me the biggest sale I ever had in my 13-year career? Like,
Because I'm like that, that's why.
No. And I said, what I told him? I said, you gotta take me out to a couple more dinners. Because like I said, I ain't never seen him during the day.
Mm-hmm. So even in that moment of you getting him the sales, you still didn't really feel anything deeper than like just what it was, like just a baseline relationship?
Oh no,
Okay. So
we got on the express lane after that.
Okay.
Oh no, men are smart. Like, yes, he loved whoever he liked or like whatever he liked. But no, men want something they can build on. Mm-hmm. The fact that I thought enough of him, I liked him enough to research his company, to learn how he made his money.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, most women hate what I do. But, I tell you, I'm at the office, I'm trying to tell y'all. I know y'all too young to know who Edith Bunker is from Archie, from All in the Family. But she was always running around, like, as soon as he come home, she go get his bed and slippers. That's the kind of wife I am, right? Like, and so it's like, when he would say, I'm at the office, I got a lot of work to do. And so, what you got to do? And he was like, I got to put the orders in. I said, I know how to type. Look, I just wanted to be in his space. Mm-hmm. I ain't care if I had to work. I ain't never run from work. So it was like, he was like, you really doing this? Like, right. People, no, because if this is important to you, I'm going to do my part. No, Like, if Corn was my boyfriend, I'd already have him at Channel 11. Like, no, because
come on, Channel 11.
Okay, like, what I'm saying? Like, and then that's how you get the things that you want. By making up things happen for somebody else. Somebody called me today, and one of my colleagues, and all these years later, I still send people to my husband, and they was like, girl, tell your husband that I don't even wear those shirts like until it's a special occasion. And I'm like, you got stuff from him? Like, yeah, me, Andre, like, he naming people. Mm-hmm. And I sent them a text. I'm gonna show you the text. I sent them a text because the guy was like so tickled about his shirts. And this is what I sent him. I said, wow, babe, I had no idea that him and Andre bought from you. I'm so happy to help you in any way that I can. Troy says that he loves his shirts. Like, all these years later, I'm still rocking out for him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's how I get the vacations. Right.
I'm saying, like,
it works for you.
Oh, yeah.
Really, yep.
It's like, okay. And it's like, I'm so happy that I'm so valuable to him. I can wake up, you know how we look when we first wake up.
Breath stinking.
Morning breath, looking like I've stuck my hand in a, socket. But he just sees so much loyalty in me. He sees so much, what I'm saying? Like, I remember when we first got married and, he would just, because like I said, I put a lot of people on the line. So, and, he used to come home and take naps, but I work from home, so, And so I said, look, because he don't want to come home and disrupt what I'm doing, right? Because, I want to talk, he want to go home and sleep, right? Yeah. So I said, look, I can go and do my work at Panera Bread. And he was like, you ain't got to leave out. No, you got to respect what, like, yeah. He want to stay home sometime and scratch, right?
I'm crying.
Like,
what you do that for? I'm right here.
Right, like, I get to have the house all day, all week to myself. just came with the takeover, right? And it's like, no. But he was like, no, it's your house too. I said, look, I don't have to define who I am and what I am. You know, I'm going up to the Panera, right? Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, please, and that's why I tell my students, I don't look through phones. I'm too busy for that. Mm-hmm. You know why I don't look through phones? Because I don't want to have to respond to if I see something. So stay off the phone.
Yeah. And whatever you need to know anyway is going to
reveal itself. You know why? Yeah. Because I don't care. I'm older than y'all. I've been a side chick before. Side chicks get tired too. Because guess what? No,
this one goes out to other side chicks.
Huh?
This one goes out to other side chicks.
Side chick. I don't care how much you. I don't care how much. How much you. I don't care how much you are content with being a side chick. Mm. You ain't going on vacation. You ain't getting on a plane. Mm-hmm. You ain't going to the family cookout, right? I don't care how much of a side chick you are. No, You know how they say there's levels to this shit? Yeah, there's levels. And that's why I said, you gotta weigh things. Mm-hmm. And so you're gonna be mad scrolling down on social media because he had to cook out with the side chick because you busted him upside the head.
Oh my goodness.
You know, like, no.
Now you lost everything.
You done lost everything. Now she all at the cookout talking about, y'all, look at my new mother-in-law. Right?
Ooh, that's gonna hurt some feelings.
Oh, yes, your feelings. Because you at the Motel 6, right? Because you done left the house. You done left the house. No, no. I love my quality of life. I love the life that he built for me. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, I help him. So his company is so dope that if they win sales, like quotas and stuff, they be like, you get all these all expense paid trips. Like we went to Vegas for our honeymoon and we stayed at the Bellagio Hotel. Google how much the Bellagio costs per night.
I heard Drake say it in the song. I already know.
Oh yes. Girl, I was all in the Rolex store looking. Oh my God. All in, you know, like, oh my God. It's like the Tesla came to the airport and picked us up. Like the man was like, the Tesla was 2 weeks old. And me, you know, like, yeah, y'all, I'm in the Tesla. You know, but once again, and it didn't cost us nothing.
Oh, wow.
All expenses paid. Mm-hmm. So now he come home with the list of the trips. Babe, look, we can win this. We can win this, right? And that's how we save our money. Yeah, so yeah, you showing all your trips, but how much you pay for it? How broke are you now? This ain't cost us nothing.
People like, what jobs do y'all have? Like, y'all are always on vacation, always spending money.
I wouldn't get too caught up in that though.
But no, yeah, it's like, it's not even getting caught up in it. It's just observing, you know? And it's like, curiosity. Like you said, it's easy to, not compare, but it's easy to, you know,
wonder.
Yeah, like it is easy to compare. I'll say compare.
But
you know?
Here's what you have to do. You have to be driven by, first of all, and I learned this in class, you gotta clap. Clap for people.
Yeah.
You gotta clap for people first. But you have to say, all right, what you did?
Yeah,
how'd you do it? You know, what I need to do. Most people are gonna nitpick. Girl, I think she got a piece of lint on her bathing suit. You know, like you are so, you know, miserable that you on fine. You on zoom in this, curl it. Ain't that lit? Girl, I know that's lit. Girl, I know that, girl, yeah. And you so, instead of you saying, how'd you do that? Mm-hmm. You know, like, and when I talk, one of the things that I don't tolerate, I can't stand students who whine and blame other people. It's somebody's fault, you know. No, like, you are the leading lady or the leading man in your own movie. Mm-hmm. Your name is on the marquee. I saw a saying that said, you are the author of your own book. If it's not a bestseller, that's on you.
Co-author.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're right.
But if you're not a bestseller, if it's not a bestseller, that's on you. If you are the star of the movie and it's not a blockbuster, you gotta look at you.
Right.
When they look at movies that flop, they look at the star. They don't look at the extras. They don't look at the co-actors and the, no, they look at whoever the marquee, who got the most money. That's why they took their time, like doing like the Bad Boys, like it took forever for Bad Boys 3 to come.
It really did.
It's like almost a decade. And it's only because they need to know, like we got big shoes to fill. And that's what I teach my students about relationships. It's like, make sure that if a decision is made, make sure that your shoes so big that, if the relationship is over, it's over. But make sure that whoever replaces you, haunted.
It's gonna look like clown shoes on it.
Right, it's haunted. Like, no. So I don't worry about if it's over.
Yep.
I don't worry about that he is a whole snack. I'm a meal.
Period.
And then, right, and so
Benny Hanna.
exactly,
Yeah.
okay. And the reason you have to have that kind of confidence is because life has a way of swallowing you up. You can just, something happened, hurt your feelings. And I got an email, and my feelings was hurt for about 30 seconds. I don't give nothing no more power than that.
But that's important too, because
Yeah.
you just acknowledge that you allowed yourself to feel it.
Yeah.
And acknowledge that you're feeling for her. But then it's like, all right, well.
I want to know something funny that happened today, except it's really not funny. So we went outside at Hen and Fin. You know about our restaurant, right? Hen and Fin.
Mm-mm.
So it's our cousin's restaurant. I manage it, but it's like chicken,
Nice.
fish, really nice restaurant, right?
Okay, well, when can we go?
Whenever you like.
Closed now.
Yeah, we close at 9 and 10 on the weekends, but
Oh no,
Yeah,
this
let
could
me
have
know.
been down there.
yeah. But so this is what somebody did, and we were trying to figure out who it was. We ended up looking on the cameras. I go out around and say something to Arthur, and he's like, wait, back up. So I look, and you know those side where the benches are? Somebody smeared shit on every single bench, poured glass or broke glass on all the tables, and just vandalized the whole area.
You're at the restaurant?
Yes. And
Wow.
my immediate feeling was just like, who would do this? Like, first of all, ew.
Right. So what dog you had to stalk
I'm
to get him,
saying,
you know what I'm saying?
I was
Like,
on the cameras, right? And sure enough, 12:15, mind you, it's been there since yesterday, and nobody noticed it yesterday. And they put it on. I'm not even going to get into detail. They just violated, right? And I was watching the person on the camera, and I remember just feeling so much anger,
Yeah.
because it's like, how do you have so much hate in your heart that you would go and do that to a black-owned business at
Right.
that? Like,
oh no! Remember what we said? Jealousy is easy. It's easy to get
Yeah.
to jealousy.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
had to sit with that, and eventually, like I inside, I was just like, God, I don't know who did it or why they
Right.
did it, but I'm gonna let you handle that. Obviously, whatever they were feeling inside, they needed to get that out, and it's just something you gotta sit with. It's not easy to let.
No,
anger
it's
go.
because you're human.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you have to know how to compartmentalize things. You have to know how to separate things out.
Mhm.
One time, I had an argument with someone, and they said some real, hurtful things in the argument. But what I have to understand is that no, that wasn't about me.
Yep.
That spoke more. If you can reach that deep down into a dark place and say the things that you said to me, that's your circus. That's your circus, right? Like that's your circus. And so, and this is why it's so important for you to understand who, like, I'm so happy in my marriage, whether it's with my husband or without. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a whole person. I have a whole career. And so I'm not saying that I would be devastated if something happened, but my world ain't falling apart. You know, like I have my own, you know what I'm saying? And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
And so that's why anything that happens that goes sideways, I don't give it power.
You can.
No, you can't give it power because
from you.
when you give it power, it erodes. That's how things get eroded.
If you see a difference in the way you talk to people from when you used to work at Checkers versus like with everything that you're doing now.
Yes. So the answer is yes. And the work that you have to do, for me, it took place in the wilderness. So there were some things that I had to recognize in the wilderness that I had to fix even before I left the wilderness. The first thing I had to fix was I was not living an evidence-based life. You know, I was always making promises, oh, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do better, but I never followed it up with evidence. So I understood even before I left my wilderness that I needed to train myself to, you know, always focus on evidence. What's your proof? You know, because I could tell you I'm the Queen of England, but what's my evidence, right? So learning to live an evidence-based life was at the forefront. So, and when you accept that the only way the needle in your life is going to move is that you have to start working for evidence, right? So if I went to school, okay, going to school don't count. What's the evidence that I went to school? I got the degree. So I don't even talk about, oh, I went to school. I only talk about I graduated, right? And so that's evidence. And I even tell students, don't sign up for this program if all you want to do is look successful. Because, you know, people are comfortable with looking successful. But you have to accept that the only thing that registers with people is evidence. So that was number one. Number two, I had to stop reading my own news clips. You know, I had to recognize that, you know how they say, oh, what other people say don't matter. Yes, it does. Especially if you off the chain, right? If you off the chain, no, you know, the best thing somebody told me, and I will never forget it, it was in 1993 when a lady told me, you need to get your shit together. And like that was like the best thing I heard. Because when people say, oh, don't pay attention to what people say, only if they're saying something that's not in your best interest. Her saying that to me was in my best interest. I was on the express lane to nowhere. And so, you know, being able to accept that feedback, you know. And so whenever, you know, I started talking to people, I started measuring my own conversation with, you know, because some people lie so much that it just rolls off their tongue. So I trained myself that, okay, if I'm saying something, make sure that I have some substantive evidence or some proof, you know. And so now if the person bringing up, oh, you go to UB? Yeah, I'm in school. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Because I'm not gonna keep talking about it until I finish the job.
Finish what you started.
I finish when I start. Because and this is just me, it don't count. It don't count if you don't have the evidence. And the reason, you know, you mentioned like you're doing this by yourself, it's because I don't start anything that I can't finish. Now, if I need help, you know, I have different ways to do that, but I train myself that I have to live an evidence-based life. But I also had to only have conversations I don't have conversations with people that say, "Oh, I ain't doing nothing. I'm chilling." No, if you don't have a high school diploma, you don't have any skills to be able to take care of yourself. No, the last thing you should be doing is chilling. You're already chilling. Like, you chill too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason, I know this is a long way around your answer, but not only do I live an evidence-based life, I only really engage with people that are on track to show some evidence. Like, I have students that don't come to class and don't turn their work in, and they got all the conversation in the world. No, you ain't got nothing to say to me. No, you get zero amount of my time.
Right.
Now, if you did your work, if you turned in stuff, I don't care if you turned it in late, yeah, you get my time. But if you just trying to see, check my temperature to see if you won't make it through the class, no, nobody skates. Not in my class.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, what's top of mind for me, I'm sending my employer the best. So I had a student that didn't come to class and will call me after class and like, "What y'all do today?" No, miss. No, your time to learn what we did in class is being in class. Right. And so I said that to say that my conversation from when I was working at Checkers versus me being invited to the White House, it changed because I started living an evidence-based life, and I wouldn't accept anything less.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
You might have answered this earlier. When you talk about an evidence-based life, like, how do you find the balance in really being evidence-based versus like somebody like yourself years ago when you were first starting off at base one and you're like, I want to live this millionaire lifestyle. Somebody will tell you, "Oh, fake it till you make it," but where do you find that evidence and gain that evidence to live that reality, basically?
So that is a great question.
Thank you. Yeah.
And this goes back to why Celeebrate Us is spelled the way it's spelled. So it's spelled with 2 E's because in that wilderness, I accepted if I want to live that millionaire life, if that's what I want, I was going to have to do extra. And so I needed something to remind me every day of that work. I was going to have to do extra. So that extra E says that I accept it. Like, you know what? I'm not going to complain about it.
Did you mean to do that too? Because E is the symbol for energy. So it's like you literally put extra energy into your business and into what you were doing.
So the E was very much intentional. It was on purpose.
I thought that was a typo. I'm not even.
No, a lot of people do. A lot of people do until they go on the landing page of my website and it says spell with 2 E's because we do extra.
I love that. Yeah.
You can't remember. I was in the wilderness. But even in the wilderness, I was in a hole. So I had to get out the hole first before I could walk out the wilderness. So I had to do, so the line that I got in, like, you'd be surprised people that don't do no work and they think they should be acknowledged in the Michelle Obama line. No, you need to be in the Shanae Jenkins line.
Shanae Jenkins.
Like, you are not in the Michelle Obama line, right? And that's the acceptance. Like, no, but you had people that do nothing and want to be acknowledged and respected and treated like Michelle Obama. No. And the reason I use Michelle Obama is not because she was the first lady. It was because when she would come home on the summer or her summer breaks, she volunteered at Legal Aid, helping people with slumlords get things fixed in their houses, right? Like, that's the work. That's the work. Like, I see so many people on social media just wanting to I don't care how much makeup you wear and how fancy your clothes are, what you drive. You will not be in the Michelle Obama line unless you understand service to others. She became who she is because she served others.
So before you can, want to be anything, you have to understand that you have to become something first. So what I wanted, for myself, it was required that I understood exactly who I am. Lisa, you started from ground zero. So if you have to be at the job at 8:30, show up at 8:15. And if there's an opportunity for you to stay late to do more, that's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do. And so to answer your question, it's like conditions are gonna tell you if you're doing what you're supposed to do. And those conditions can only be met. Like I was so jacked up that I could only live my life weekly. I had so much work to do. I set goals. Like if I said, okay, I used to be late for everything. And I set goals. I said, okay, it's October and I'm not gonna be late for anything, appointment, PTA meeting. I'm not gonna be late for anything in October. But I had to measure it in weeks. So, okay, all right, today is October 1st, it's October 5th. The children got a dental appointment, they got this. I had to break it down to the bone gristle. Like, and those conditions, I had to accept that I created them. I created the hole I ended up in. Yeah, I was in foster care. Yes, I was sexually abused and all that stuff. But after you turn 18 and you don't get the help that you need, go get the help. Go to counseling. You understand what I'm saying? Because after you turn 18, like back then they didn't have a lot for 18 to 20. They got a lot for them now, but no. Once you are at the age of accountability, you gotta map your life to where you can see immediately if things are going well. Oh, it's the 17th of the month. I made it to all my appointments. Oh, okay, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And, all right, it's a month. And, I got fired from that job because I couldn't come to work. I always had to miss at least one day a week. Okay, so I'm gonna set a goal. Then I'm gonna work a whole month and not miss a day. That's where you have to start. You have to start where you start. Don't look at her, don't look at him, don't look at nobody else. This is where I am, this is who I am.
Like that guy that commented and said that you meet people where you are. It's like you're living exactly what you want other people to do. You walk what you talk.
Yeah, I had a student that lost custody of her kids. And she heard that I lost custody of my kids. And, she wanted to fight the lawyer, she wanted to fight the judge, she wanted to fight the social worker. And I said, no. Fight that list that they gave you. What you talking about? I said, oh, I had the same list. Yeah, lists don't change. There's a list. It takes a lot to take children. There's a list. You fighting the wrong people. It's your ego that want to fight everybody. You got to check that at the door and fight that list. That list that says you got to get a house, you got to get a job, you got to make them kids safe, you got to stop letting your house be the hangout house. And you understand what I'm saying? There's a list. Because I know what the list is, because I had the same list. The list don't change. The list don't change because the things and the factors that make children unsafe don't change.
And they added stuff too.
Oh, sure. Like, so, we didn't have the internet and all that stuff, so, but it's about keeping children safe. So, no, don't get in battles you can't win. You want to fight the judge, you want to fight the mother, the grandmother, and all that stuff. You ain't going to win. It takes a lot to remove children from a home. Children got to be in imminent danger. They would much rather help a mother get her lights back on, but if your children are not safe, they got to step in. And so, no, but I'm glad that I could be there for a young lady. And I can be real and transparent. And she could see that I'm teaching, and yet I had that same list. you know, like I said, the list can change.
Seeing somebody overcome it is so much inspiration in itself. So,
Especially with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure, like, the emotions that she was feeling, you were feeling that exact same thing. And now,
It's a fraternity no one wants to be in. It's such a staunch indictment, like somebody that don't even know your kids had to step in and make your kids safe because you couldn't do it. And so the acceptance is, you know, but the most jarring thing about it is to have 3 children and to know what it's like to live in a house with 3 children. Where all you're saying is, stop that running, go sit down, turn that TV down, y'all brush your teeth, to dead silence.
yeah.
Dead silence.
you mentioned it was like a ghost town.
Like a ghost town. Like I had to shut their door. Like I couldn't look at their bunk beds. I couldn't look at my daughter's doll babies, right? But I was so glad that God preserved my mind because it was enough to send you crazy. It was enough. And I'm so glad that I didn't allow it, to take me up to a place of no return. And so what I did, I said, it's quiet in here. I can go to school. I can study. I can throw away all that stuff in the basement that I ain't, And so that, like, you have to have a place in your life of discovery. So I discovered I can eat Cheerios if I want. I ain't gotta cook. All I gotta do is wash my clothes. I can look at what I want. Right? You have to
Some
find
positive in it.
that silver lining. Yeah. And when you wrap your mind around that, you know what? I ain't gonna never get this opportunity again. So I better get some stuff done. Because once they come home, I gotta get them to school. I gotta pick them up. And that's why I was able to expand during COVID. Everybody was complaining about being locked down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, you mean to tell me I got all this time to build relationships and to build partnerships and we ain't gonna never have this kind of downtime again.
And virtually at that. You don't gotta
Exactly.
be in front of them.
I ain't gotta get no tickets and pay no boot, because I was driving down UB and, somebody go put a quarter in the, meter for me. Right? No.
Yeah.
And so you have to, that's why when they gave me the diagnosis about my brain tumor, they was like, wow, you're so calm. I said, yeah, because you're not in charge. You are here at the request of God. Your job is to tell me everything you're telling me, but He's in charge. And if I put all my trust in you, that's not fair to you. Because that means that if something happens, something goes wrong, I'm going to blame you. And so he was like, wow. So when they diagnosed me, it's like, they came in the room and I was like, oh, something tell me I ain't going home. Y'all got, it don't take 4 lab coats to tell me to go home, right? But they bring people because whenever they gave that diagnosis before, people threw furniture and, and they was like, wow, you're so calm. I said, well, I need to listen.
Yeah.
If I zap out and throw stuff, you gonna just get the nurse and discharge me home. Now I missed the learning. I missed how I'm gonna stay alive. But if I'm quiet and I'm listening and I hear everything you say, you're motivated to say more than I probably need to hear, but you wanna make sure I understand everything that's about to happen. And once again, fairy dust. Dr. Ritter, who diagnosed me, he was like, Miss Phillips, I was Phillips then. He said, Miss Phillips, you are amazing. And what he was referring to is, I told him, I said, I understand everything you're saying. Then I got a brain tumor, and I understand. But here's where I need to be Christmas Eve. I need to be out of here.
Yeah.
Because I adopted a shelter. And those families already know I'm coming. Because the shelter told them. So is there any way you can stabilize me so I can be out of here by Christmas Eve? And so he was like, the medication that is going to take the swelling down. He said, if your brain don't start swelling, you're going to die. He said, and the medication, it is in a pill form, but we admit patients so they can get it intravenously so we don't have to worry if they miss their dosage, because it's so time sensitive that if you miss the dosage, you could die. And so, the dosage was 8, 12, 4, 8, 12, and then 4. So 8 a.m., 12 noon, 4 p.m., 8 p.m., 12 a.m., and 4 a.m. So my husband put a chair by the bed and watched me so he could wake me up at 3:59 to take that medicine, because I begged them to let me go home. And I delivered those gifts to the families. I wasn't trying to be a hero. Those families already suffered enough disappointment. I wasn't going to be the fifth.
Right.
And so I already promised them. And I made the deliveries. Nobody knew except my husband that I was sick, that I was diagnosed with brain tumor. Nobody knew. I came home and I slept through Christmas. But one of those families was a lady. So back then, I used to reach out to the state's attorney and say, look, if you have any families with children who had a parent die from gun violence, and the children were 10 and under, I want to deliver toys to them, because nobody talks about who's left.
Right.
And one lady, she lost 2 sons to gun violence. Can you imagine? I don't know where their mothers were, but she was raising all 6 of their 6 grandkids.
Oh, wow.
And Christmas morning, she was calling me. She was like, Miss Lisa, are y'all close to us? Because the kids are about to wake up. And I said, we are coming. We made you last because we got the most for you. We had bikes. And it was so sad. And God bless Marilyn Mosby. I love her. And I said, Marilyn, she is living in the middle, and there are 2 vacant houses. So I know she got rents. And Marilyn said, we already working on trying to get, that's what she was saying, with 3 boys and 3 girls, they gotta get a high 5 bedroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why, I love Marilyn so much, because nobody knew what she had to do for families. Like, the state's attorney's office has to give justice to people. And people don't understand relocating them. You understand what I'm saying? Helping them get jobs. Like, I was honored. And I'm still a training provider for the violence prevention program. People that go into witness protection, I get them jobs and help them start their lives over. And I'm honored by that. But people don't know all that's involved in being the state's attorney of a city. They got to protect witnesses. They got, it takes money. And because I knew what they weren't reporting on, you know what I'm saying? And so she was mad at me. She was like, you could have told me that you were sick. I would have understood. I said, no, I was not going to let those families down. Like I said, that lady was counting on me. She did not want those kids to wake up with no toys. And like I said, I wasn't trying to be a hero. No.
Just following up on your word.
Keeping my word. Keeping my word. Yes, people would have gave me a pass. But if they stabilized me and got me okay, like I said, I ended up getting readmitted, But no, I was not gonna feel good about myself, knowing that, you know, and like I said, I'm not saying that was probably because like my husband's like, you know, you should have did that, and what if you would have got sick or had something happen, and but I'm a risk taker. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'll take my risk.
Got you this far.
Oh yeah, I had to. That's why I'm by myself, because I'm a risk taker, and I don't want what I decide to negatively impact somebody else's ability to earn. Like, I'll put it all on, you know, 21, so to speak. Like, I bet the house because I know how to live with nothing.
Yeah.
I know how to live with nothing. Like, one of the things that my husband says, you always talk about you only got $13 in your account. I can't tell, you know, well, that's because, and what he was talking about is I don't complain.
Like you said earlier, complain.
You know, I use humor. It's like, okay, so if we doing this, you know I only got $13. So how, you know, what I gotta pay, right? And so,
pay 10, 13.
right.
3.
No, my husband was wonderful. He was wonderful. One day I was over his house and I wanted to order pizza. And I was like, can I order pizza? He said, no. I said, why? He said, you can order pizza tomorrow. And I said, why tomorrow? He said, oh, because you already used your budget for the month. And I said, I got a budget? I'm so ratchet. You know, he's like, yes. And he showed me where I'm on his budget, $250 a month. Takes care of my entertainment, my food, you know, if I want to go to a movie, and you know, but once that $250 is gone, it's gone. And I, you know, and it gets replenished every month, you know. But I learned so much from him. And I remember when he came over my house, I had a late notice on my door. And he took the late notice. He said, I'm telling you, I don't live like this. He said, I like you a lot, but I don't live like this. And that's why I tell my students, check your slick mouth at the door. You know, because a lot of people are like, oh, mind your business. No, you know what I said? I said, teach me. Like, I was so ratchet. Like, I didn't even know what a rental office was. And he was like, where you pay your rent? And I said, I know it's on a piece of paper somewhere. He said, well, how you pay your rent? I said, I pay it when the sheriff comes. He's like, look, we're not doing that no more.
Yeah.
We're not doing
When they come to the door and held their
Right.
Here you go.
And he's like, and it's like, his house, he's been in since 2015. Never been late. Ever. And what he considers late is the second of the month. And so,
And they give you like a 7-day.
right, nuh-uh. But once again, that's why he got an 800 credit score and I don't, right? And so, but it's so funny because, you know, like when I have to make my contribution, you know, like I make it fun. And I said, you know, Daddy, I got your money. And he's like, okay, put it on the dresser, right? Like, I really made it fun because, you know, like, I was a worker, right? You know, I wasn't walking the street, but I was working, right? And when, oh my goodness, I never forget, I was so nervous because I didn't have my contribution. And a couple walked into my party venue, an African couple, and she was real pregnant. And he was like, we're going down the courthouse Friday to get married because she could go on labor. You know, some people, like, they wanted to make sure they was married before the baby came. Yeah. And they said, you know, but we want to have a nice little small, you know. And so can we book you? They gave me $250. I gave them a number 9 off the menu. I was like, they was like, but we didn't pay for this. No, you don't know what you did to help me.
Right.
So, you know, like, so when their family came, they was like, wow, you only paid $250, you got this? No, I could not go home without his money, right? Like, and it was that he was disciplining me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it's crazy because like today is the
11.
11th. Like by the 15th, I already got to know that the money coming, right? I already got to know that something's coming because it's only 30 days this month, you know? And, you know, I can't ask people to give me, you know, money for my birthday. No, by the 15th of the month, I need to have it. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm so trained now. I'm trained on, hey.
It's gotten you, and like you said, success requires discipline.
Oh, yeah.
And all he was doing was helping sharpen that. With
Oh, my God. And that's why the times when he's been tough on me, it made me better. Like, a lot of people see me accomplish things. It's because it was a point in our relationship where he was like, your learning curve is over. You know, like, you got 3 college degrees. If this ain't gonna work, you need to go. Like, he really, and I didn't look at it like he's being mean or anything. No, you know, the bottom line is, somebody else is waiting for your success, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody else is praying, and you know, I never forget, you know, my sister that passed. Like, I remember when she was in hospice, she was like, "I'm so proud of you. Like, girl, you don't know how I prayed for you every night." Mm. I said, I know. Like, I remember when I was incarcerated, she used to send me Bible tracts. And I was so busy looking at other people getting cards and, you know, letters. And so I called her, you know, we were on the phone. And I said, you know, like, why you don't send me letters and cards like everybody else get? She said, oh, because God's word is more than anything I can send you. And I went and got all those Bible tracts and I started reading them, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, God has always sent somebody to protect me. Mm-hmm. And he sent my husband to protect me. And so I had my own level of grit, but the grit that I learned from my husband is what's taking me to the next level. Because that's what it takes. Because he told me, he said, Lisa, I didn't always have what I had. I filed bankruptcy before, you know, I slept in my car before. But everything that I'm telling you, you have to do, I did it. And that's how I'm able to teach others about personal and professional development, because everything I teach, I did it. Everything that we've learned today is not hearsay. It's what I've learned. And my way is not the only way, but at least I got receipts that it works.
It is a way.
It's a way.
a proven system.
Oh yes, systems and processes. You cannot accomplish anything without systems and processes. And so I work on my systems and processes every day. And it just helps you, like we talked about, I was telling you about the shoe, like we are in control of a lot of things. And one of the things that we are in control of is what makes us happy and what makes us sad. And all of us has we have a misery index. So like, I wanted to wear these today. Mm-hmm. They're very comfortable, but I never worn them. See, I never wore them. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to wear them today. And so I walked around in the house with them and they were comfortable. Mm-hmm. But because I never wore them, I didn't know how long I would be comfortable. And so I said, you know what? I haven't been out a while. This is a podcast. I'm gonna be a while. I wanna be comfortable. So I'm gonna wear my flats so I can be comfortable, because we are in charge of what makes us miserable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know if after wearing these for 3 hours, I wouldn't be miserable. Mm-hmm. I don't wanna take my shoes off. You know what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. you know, but you can control how sad you become and how happy you become. And the reason why that's so important is because no matter who you wake up to the next day, you gotta wake up to you.
Mm-hmm. Live your life.
Right, so it's, you know, and so I manage what makes me uncomfortable. You know, I don't worry about how something looks. If it makes me comfortable, I'm fine with it. So
I really like that metaphor too. I'm glad you.
Yeah.
glad you put that there.
It's like
Them girls that be going to the clubs, I had to learn this too. Like, I love
No.
going out with my friends, but
yeah.
I had to create a strict boundary. If we're not gonna have a section, I'm not spending any money, and we're with a group of people, don't invite me to the club, because I'm not wearing heels to stand
Right.
and watch people party in a section and spend $450 on a $25 bottle of Malibu.
Right.
And I'm just like, this is a facade. I
Right.
had a terrible experience, and from that day, you haven't seen me at the club
Yeah,
unless those boundaries. are
I
in
had,
place.
so I went through something similar so I was the first person out in my group to get my driver's license. So when we went to the club, I had to not only pick everybody up, I had to drop everybody off.
Oh my
So
God.
even if I wasn't drinking, you know, just, dancing and tired, and, one time I was so tired, I went through a red light. And thankfully, no cars were coming or anything. But if a car or a truck was coming, I would have been toast. So I set a new rule. Somebody else got to get their license.
Right.
Or even when I'm ready to go.
Right. And so because if you're the driver,
I'm not staying.
and it wasn't even just that. It's like I was the person. Like if I took everybody to the market, I had to pick them up and drop them off. And so when we got to everybody's destination, I helped to carry the bags in. But yet when I got to my apartment on the 3rd floor, my children were babies. So I had to take all my groceries up. And I never forget, they locked the gate that I usually go in where you can actually go closer to with the apartment. So I had to, all my kids would sleep in the car. And it was pouring down rain. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna leave them in the car while I just take them in. When I came back, all the children was gone. They was running around the complex looking for me.
Oh my goodness.
All in the rain,
Oh my goodness.
and so I had to say to them, y'all gotta find somebody else to take y'all to the market. Because I can't be getting home midnight with all my groceries, my children sleep, and I'm by myself. And I think that's why God has really, kept his hand on me because of what I did for others at my own demise, right? That was the scariest moment, looking for my children. Thank God they were crying.
Yeah.
Because it was so dark. And I just, picked them all up one by one and put them all in the car, got them calm and dry, turned the heat on so they could, because, and I left those groceries in the car because I wasn't going to leave them in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were at that age where it's like, that's
look away for
scary.
1 second. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I said, I'm at a place where in that wilderness, I learned how to say, no, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I needed to do a lot for my students early on to build my name, but it cost me a lot. It was a lot of times where I had to help a student pay their rent, and I had to get gas money for my daughter. You understand what I'm saying? But I had to do that to get, the outcomes, because my program is evidence-based. If they don't have a job, a certification, you don't get paid. So I had one girl, her husband went to jail, and she was like, I'm ready to drop out of the class, so I can, do Uber so I can pay his bail. Oh no, we went to bail bonds.
So I can pay his bill.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was gonna cost me too much if they would have dropped out of training. Yeah, the state and the funding sources don't like dropping out. When you drop out of training and you want a state or federal contract, they deduct the amount of that training that they paid you.
Oh wow.
So it's like, it's gonna hurt you in the long run. So I had to do that, but I'm glad I'm over that hump. I'm glad I don't have to do that kind of stuff no more. And so, yep. So now programs call me for help. And so they pay me. Yep, they pay me. Yeah.
Build that value.
Oh yeah, like, so
I sit in the meetings and I know who in trouble, who not. You know what I'm saying? I know who can use my help, whether they want to or not. You know, when they need it or not. You know, and like I said, the gentleman from the School of Social Work, you know, they got long money, so they can work with whoever they want, but they weren't getting outcomes. They reached out to me because I have evidence that what I do work. This was so much fun.
Yes.
It was. It really was. And
Yeah.
I do thank you for coming out. I appreciate
No,
I appreciate
thank you.
talking to you, period.
Yes.
Because you're always giving just insightful information, and it's always something
Yeah.
that's applicable to any walk of
Mhm.
life. Like
Corin asked me, was I a teacher? I said, no, I'm a train wreck, a reformed train wreck.
Train wreck. Oh man.
our last segment here is what we call the 60-60.
Okay.
You'll have 60 seconds to just look into the camera and give your kind of final bits of advice, anything that you want to leave the audience with. You can reflect on what we talked about today, or, you know, just give your final piece. So the floor is yours.
Okay. So one of the things that I would tell anyone is run your race. Don't look at what anybody else is doing. Run your race. Find something that you're good at, you like to do, you're passionate about it. Master it and then monetize it. I don't care if it's tires, if you like fixing tires. I don't care what it is that you like. If you like t-shirts, master it, learn it, master it, and then monetize it. But make sure that you would love doing it, whether you got paid to do it or not. For 3 years, I did trainings just to learn the problems I could work out. And for 3 years, I didn't accept money because it was a mission over money. If you are about the mission, the money comes.
That's a word.
Period. Yes.